Hello guys, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's class we are going to discuss about the second topic of solutions chapter. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about a topic called solubility. So solubility is an extent at which a given solute dissolves in a given solvent. If you consider a solute and a solvent can only dissolve certain amount of solute in it. If you are considering the particular ratio of solute and solvent, let us say I am taking for about 1 liter of water. So if I take 1 liter of water, it can only dissolve certain amount of solute in it, not more than that for a given solute's nature. It depends upon the nature of the solute for the extent of the solubility. Okay, the solubility of a solute in a solvent depends upon its nature. Like for example, if you are considering sugar molecules, if you are considering sugar as a solute, sugar can dissolve in water. But if you consider naphthalene, as your solute, it does not dissolve in water. Similarly, naphthalene dissolves in benzene, but sugar doesn't. So clearly certain solutes dissolve in certain liquids, and we can say that not all solutes dissolve in a given liquid. So the solubility of a given substance can be classified to two types: solubility of a solid in liquid and a solubility of gas in liquid. So now first we'll discuss about solubility of solid in liquid. For solubility of solid in liquids, we have to know one thing, that is about forming a saturated solution. So what is this saturated solution? Whenever you consider a solid substance and you are dissolving that solid substance in a given amount of solvent, it can dissolve certain amount of extent. Like for example, let us take a beaker in which we have taken some amount of water in it. It has certain amount of dissolved salts present in it. Okay, so we are considering certain dissolved salt present in it. So what happens is, when you are adding a given solute to the given solvent, it might get reacted with the solution. It might get react with the solvent, and it may start to crystallize. Okay, so when you are adding solute to a solvent, you are increasing the concentration of solute in the given solvent. That is, if I am adding 1 or 2, let us consider we are adding certain particles of solute. So for initially there were 0 particles. Now after adding we have 6 particles inside the solvent. Similarly, if you have 6 more, you will have total of 12. So whenever you increase the solute increase the amount of added solute, the concentration of solute in the solution increases. So solute along with solvent gives us a solution. So this will be our reaction. Okay, so this reaction where we are adding solute to a solvent to form a solution might come into an equilibrium state where the concentration of solute remains constant. Will come into a constant state. That is what when we are observing, if you are adding solute to a solvent and these two are reacting to form a crystallized salt. Okay, if these two are reacting to form a new type of solute and it is crystallizing one after the other, so if you add small quantity of solute, we will observe some crystallized product. If we are adding some more amount of solute, we will observe some amount of crystallized salt. So when you are go on adding solute in a constant ratio, we will observing the constant ratio of solute as a crystalline compound formed. So once this is taking down in the same process, if you are adding continuously and there is continuous amount of crystalline compound forming out, so what happens is, at a certain amount of time or a certain rate of time, what happens is the amount you are adding will be same. Okay, that is, let us say first you add 1 gram of solute, you will get 1 gram of crystalline salt. So you will go on increasing. Okay, so if you start increasing the amount of solute at a particular point of time, what happens is the solute which you are added will be staying inside the solvent, and the later part which you are adding, the next solutes which you are adding will be directly converted to solid. Let us consider like that. So if you go on increasing the solute, what happens is at a certain point of time the amount of solute added and the amount of crystallized salt formed will be same, and that particular time or period of time the amount of solute which is already present in the solution will be a constant. So that is nothing but solute which is added to a solvent to form a solution will be forming back. That is when we come across a situation of equilibrium. So this type of equilibrium is called dynamic equilibrium. This type of equilibrium is called dynamic equilibrium. So once you obtain this dynamic equilibrium and further adding of solute to a given solution, what happens is the solute will not be dissolved in the solvent. On further adding certain amount of solute to a given solution, what happens is the solvent will not be able to dissolve the given solute, and at that particular point of time you can say this solution is saturated. So what is a saturated solution then? A saturated solution is one solution in which on adding excess solute at a given temperature and pressure there will be no dissolution. So solute will not dissolve in the solvent once the solution is saturated. The saturated solution is a solution in which no more solute can be dissolved at a given same amount of temperature and pressure. Okay. What if it dissolves more later? So then it will be called as unsaturated solution. So unsaturated solution is a solution in which the more amount of solute can be added and it will be get dissolved. Okay. So if the solution does not dissolve, if the solvent does not dissolve any extra solute, and that particular solution will be called as saturated solution. If it is still dissolving certain amount of solute, then that particular solution will be called as unsaturated solution. So this is about the solubility of solid in liquid. Now this solubility of a solid in liquid just doesn't depend upon the nature of solvent. It also depends upon two more factors, that is temperature and pressure. Usually pressure does not alter the solubility of solid in liquid, because if you are applying pressure on solid, it is incompressible state of matter. Solid is an incompressible state of matter, so therefore the pressure does not alter the solubility of solid in liquid. But what happens with respect to temperature is, if you consider the same equation with the increase in temperature, so first we need to discuss about is Le-Chatelier's principle, in which Le-Chatelier's principle he says that for a nearly saturated solution, that is if a solution is almost to get saturated, we come across two conditions. First one is endothermic reaction. If the reaction is endothermic and if the reaction is exothermic. If the formation of a saturated solution which is almost saturated, it's not saturated but it is almost to be saturated, then if the reaction is endothermic, then its delta H of dissolution will be greater than 0. If a reaction is endothermic and then its delta H of dissolution is greater than 0, then with increasing temperature increases solubility. So with increasing temperature we observe increase in solubility in case of endothermic reaction where the delta H of dissolution is greater than 0. And in case of exothermic reaction, delta H of dissolution is less than 0, and with increasing temperature solubility decreases. So this is what Le-Chatelier's principles say, and this is the effect of temperature on solubility of solid on liquid. That is, if you consider a solution which is almost to be saturated, then if the condition of that particular solution is endothermic, that means delta H of dissolution is greater than 0. Therefore, the reaction will be increases its solubility with increasing temperature. If the reaction is exothermic, that means delta H of dissolution is less than 0, and with increasing temperature, its solubility decreases. So this is about solubility of solid in liquid. Next, we'll discuss about solubility of gas in liquid. So now we'll discuss about solubility of gas in liquid. So whenever you have to consider solubility of gas in liquid, the best example is oxygen dissolved in seawater, right? So because of the oxygen dissolved in seawater, aquatic animals can undergo their respiration easily. So what happens is the oxygen present in water, or the solubility of oxygen in water is slightly less. That is because if you consider this as a seawater level, this is a seawater, and we have oxygen present on the surface. Okay, this oxygen is very less soluble in water. That means there is just lesser amount of oxygen present in the seas. Therefore, we won't observe more amount of oxygen being soluble in water. Similarly, in case of HCl, if you consider HCl, HCl is greatly soluble in water. It has a very good solubility in water. So, whenever you have to understand the solubility of gas in a liquid, you better consider a condition where the pressure and temperature are implacable. That is, the solubility of gas on a solid, the solubility of gas in liquid completely depends upon the two factors of pressure and temperature. Pressure and temperature. So, let us consider a system where we have a closed container. Let us consider this is a container, and in this container we are taking the solvent at the bottom. Okay, we have the solvent here, and it has certain amount of particles such as like this. Okay, and we have taken a different gas, let us say gas given with respect to mass with particles such as like this. As we know, there are less number of particles per unit area of a given gas, and it has freely independent. So let us consider a piston which is placed above the gas in this manner, which creates a vacuum in the given container. Okay, so if you observe here, the amount of gas dissolved in the solution, the amount of gas dissolved in the solvent will be somewhat like this. So there will be only few particles of the gas being dissolved in the solvent taken at the bottom of the container. So what happens is, once you apply pressure on this piston, once you apply pressure on the gas using a piston, the particles present here, the gas particles present here, starts to contract. That means the volume of the gas decreases. So once the volume of the gas decreases, if you write down, once we have applied certain amount of pressure, and in the container it will be looking like somewhat like this. So this is the piston, and we have took it too close towards the gas. So therefore, if this is the water molecule and these are the gas molecules present which are already dissolved, and now the concentration of gas molecules increases with decrease in volume, right? So once you apply pressure and decrease the volume, the number of particles present per volume in a given gas increases. Okay, number of particles present per volume of a gas increases because of applying pressure, because of decreasing volume. So therefore, what happens is, the particles which are present on the surface of the liquid, start to interact with the surface, and they start to collide with the particles present on the surface of the liquid, because they have to get in, because once you have applying pressure, these gas particles present here experiences the pressure and have to push through the free space. So what happens is, these particles try to enter through the liquid system, that is nothing but we are increasing the solubility. So once you apply pressure, the particles present on the surface of the liquid starts entering into the liquid system, that is nothing but what we call solubility of gas in liquid. So clearly we can say that with increasing pressure results means solubility increases. Solubility of gas on liquid increases. With increase in pressure, the solubility of gas on the liquid increases. So clearly we can say that the solubility of a gas in a liquid is depending upon the pressure. Okay, so this pressure is applied by external force. what happens is it is not completely the pressure which is applied by external force, but the solubility depending upon the force exerted by the particles of gas on the surface of the liquid. So when you apply an external force, you are applying force applied on the particles. Okay, so this particle experiences that force or pressure and they exert a different type of pressure on the surface of the particles present in the liquid, and that pressure is called partial pressure of gas. That pressure is defined as partial pressure of gas. That is, why do we call this partial pressure is, once you remove the piston towards upwards, once you lose the pressure, what happens is the particles which are in this position start to loosen up. Okay, so they won't have any pressure on the surface of the liquid. So that's why it is called partial pressure. So partial pressure means the pressure applied by the particles of a gas on the surface of the liquid in presence of an external field which is being applied on it. So this partial pressure increases the solubility of the gas in solid. This partial pressure increases the solubility of gas in solid. So a scientist named Henry proposed a law using this partial pressure and solubility of gas in liquid. Then he stated that the solubility of a gas in liquid will be directly proportional to the solubility of gas in liquid is directly proportional to partial pressure exerted by the gas particles on the surface of the liquid. So what he said that is solubility of gas on liquid is directly proportional to partial pressure of gas on liquid under given temperature and pressure. So under given temperature and pressure, solubility of gas in liquid is directly proportional to partial pressure of gas on liquid. Later, scientist Dalton used the same definition of Henry's law, but in a different manner and independently. He said that instead of taking solubility, if you consider mole fraction to express the concentration of the solute, so then he said that mole fraction of the gas on the liquid, the mole fraction of gas present on the top of the liquid layer is directly proportional to, partial pressure of gas on liquid. He said that mole fraction of the gas present on the liquid is proportional to partial pressure of gas on liquid. So if you consider mole fraction as X and partial pressure as P, mole fraction as X and partial pressure as P, and solubility and partial pressure as P again. So what happens is we converted Henry's law and Dowell's law accordingly and said that instead of taking two different fractions, we can say that partial pressure is directly proportional to mole fraction of the gas present on the liquid. So Henry stated that partial pressure defines the solubility of gas on liquid, and Dalton said that partial pressure depends upon the mole fraction of gas on liquid. In other words, mole fraction present on gas in the liquid is directly proportional to partial pressure. So we combined those two for our favor and made it as partial pressure P, partial pressure of a gas on liquid P is equal to kH of X, kH into X, where partial pressure is denoted by the symbol P. X is called the mole fraction of the component, and whereas kH is called constant of Henry's law, where kH is called constant of Henry's law, and the value of kH is clearly depend upon nature of the solute. Depends upon nature of solute. That is, if you observe over here, partial pressure of a gas will always be same. Or if you consider a mole fraction, what happens is, if one term decreases, the other term has to stay same. Stay same. Therefore, kH varies if this varies. If X is varied, then kH also varies. So what you can say is, if you consider mole fraction as a solubility, if you consider mole fraction as solubility, what we can say is, if you increase kH, if you increase the constant of Henry's law, what happens is solubility decreases. If you increase kH, solubility decreases. If you increase solubility, kH value decreases. So if we consider for a certain components, let us say for aquatic animals, oxygen present in the seawater, what happens is those clearly depend upon temperature. Those depend upon temperature. So what happens is kH, which is directly proportional to temperature, if temperature is increased, kH value increases, which results in decrease in solubility. If temperature is decreased, kH value decreases and solubility increases. So therefore what we usually observe is aquatic animals are more comfortable with cold temperature. Aquatic animals are more comfortable to live under cold temperature rather than under the warm temperature. Okay, that is because if you consider oxygen dissolved in kH, oxygen dissolved in seawater, what happens is oxygen dissolved at 293 Kelvin has kH value 38.8. Oxygen dissolved in seawater at 293 Kelvin is having a kH value of 38.8, and oxygen dissolved at 303 Kelvin has kH value 46. So clearly we can say that increase in temperature gives the increase in Henry's constant. With increase in Henry's constant, we can clearly say solubility of given oxygen gas decreases. If the solubility decreases, there will be no more amount of oxygen present in the seawater, which results in suffocation for breathing or respiration for aquatic plants present, aquatic animals or plants present. Therefore, aquatic animals will be better with comfortable with under cold temperature because solubility will be high under cold temperature. That is because of kH being less. Okay, so this is what we observe in case of Henry's law or Dalton's law for expression for solubility with respect to partial pressure or mole fraction in respect to partial pressure. So next is, what is the effect of temperature on, what is the effect of temperature? So this all this we have studied is the effect of pressure. When we apply external pressure, what happens for the solubility of gas? Next is effect of temperature on the solubility of gas. So what happens if we alter the temperature? So temperature is nothing but when you increase the temperature, what happens is the amount of gas present, the molecules of gas present starts to vibrate in a higher rate, right? So if you consider the given container in which we have taken some water molecule and we are having placed some gas particles above it. So these gas particles, let us say, is having certain exerting pressure on the given water layer. So when we increase temperature, what happens is, so when we increase the temperature, gas particle gets inside the liquid particle, and what happens is the gas particle under certain amount of given pressure gets converted to a liquid phase. So this is nothing but gas being converted to liquid. So when you convert gas to liquid, that is nothing but a condensation process, right? So that is nothing but a condensation process. Under condensation condition, what we observe is delta H of dissolution. So delta H of dissolution decreases. That means delta H of dissolution will be greater than 0. Delta H of dissolution will be greater than 0. That is because this is an exothermic process. So under exothermic condition, solubility decreases. Under exothermic condition, solubility decreases. Therefore, we can say that temperature, with increase in temperature, dissolution of compound decreases. Therefore, the amount of solubility will also decrease. With increase in temperature, solubility of gas in liquid decreases. So that is what we have to understand with respect to temperature. With respect to pressure, we have discussed about the Henry's law, and with respect to temperature, with increase in temperature, we observe decrease in solubility of the given gas in a liquid. Okay, so this is all about for today. In the next class, we'll discuss about vapor pressure of liquid on liquid and solid on liquid substances. If you have understood the concepts which I explained, please to subscribe to my channel and share this video among your friends. If you have any doubts, you can comment down below or you can mail those to my mail ID which I have provided in the description box. Thank you for watching.